How you guys doing? This is my response for Andy's thread. Man, I'm sorry it's been a while. The reason why is because I wasn't sure if I could answer all the questions. I can always talk about albums and stuff, but I like sticking to showing vinyls, if I can, when it comes to these types of threads. You know, what would be your 5 must-have albums and stuff. Like, I want to be able to show those vinyls. I don't have them all. But I'm going to show some other stuff anyway. I knew exactly what I wanted to say about the person that's influenced me, so I'm going to try to do my best. So it might be a little bit off the cuff, might be a little bit more different than what you're exactly looking for, but good same realm, you know? Just so you guys know what you're listening to, I've been wanting to show, I don't know how many people know this group. There's a really great indie / emo type of style record label, actually hardcore as well, named Equal Vision. And I was really into Equal Vision and these types of genres a lot more in high school. And, you know, even though I don't keep up with the newer stuff going on in that genre and those different genres as much today, it doesn't change anything for me. You know, it's sort of just like this. I'm telling you, out of all those things I showed, I'm most excited about this Limp Bizkit record, you know, because, like, I mean, out of all the Limp Bizkit albums, even if they're not everyone's particular sound, and, you know, this is the one that was big for me, and, you know, so I think a lot of people tend to, like, grow up, and, man, isn't that artwork amazing? I think a lot of people tend to, like, grow up sometimes and fall out of the albums they used to like, and they're like, oh man, yeah, crap, like, I got this, and I showed the girl, I'm like, you remember this record? I was, like, checking out, and she was like, oh yeah, man, it's so horrible. I think to myself, like, I love it. You know what I mean? Some people fall out of the stuff they used to like, and I don't understand it. So, I mean, I figured maybe I'd talk about some of that stuff, too. This is a band that was on Equal Vision. They put out one album called The Key of the Masquerade of Crime, and then they had some switch-ups. This is a band called The Strider, and I have this on CD. It's one of the smaller collection of CDs I keep because I know I can't find it anywhere. It's called Jungle City Twitch. This album is incredible. I'm not the type of person that likes to go into making claims too much and ever saying my favorite album of all time. Like, I don't know if I can really do the desert thing, because I don't like to have to pick that, you know? I feel like it's just too much of a weird limit for me. But there was times when I was, you know, in college, and I went to Wagner in Staten Island for 1 year, and I was with my ex-girlfriend at that time, and Long Island, my town, Long Beach, wasn't really as far away. It was only 45 minutes to an hour. I can just remember just cruising back and forth, like, a lot of weekends and listening to this record, amongst other things. It's amazing vocals. So these guys started out more as, like, their first album was a straight emo band, and then they completely just blew my mind with this transition. Like, this... Listen, I'm going to talk about other things, and I might say about other things too, but I would love to be able to say that this is the one thing I'd want you to take from this video. Like, you can download this and find it anywhere on a free link, like Mediafire or Rapid Share or something. The Strider Jungle City Twitch is amazing, amazing music. Really cool stuff too is that the drummer named Scotty Reddix on the first album, they actually, pretty sure if I remember right, he was the drum player. And then they had, again, a new singer, which was amazing. And then they actually moved him up to, I think, guitar. And it's great, man. It's just great. Great songs on here. If anything, check out the last song on YouTube. There's a song called Circular Highway from The Strider. And they go into, like, it goes into like 10 to 15 minutes as I listen to this amazing album full of all these different genre blending. And then they just kill it with this, like, 10-15 minute drum solo from this amazing drummer that was their newer drummer. Unfortunately, they broke up, you know? I would do anything to see these guys play. Once on a Halloween, back in 2002, I wasn't into them then. When they had a show on Halloween, like a town over from me, I didn't make it. Anyway, I was rambling on about that. Andy, the questions. I'm retarded. I was just watching it, but I feel like I just want to make sure that I have it right.
You want to call them the whales or first question kind of. Yeah, right now I was saying they're on the show, but
Holy Grails. Cool. I don't know, and I've only been collecting since November, and in my opinion, I've learned a lot. I've come across tons and tons of things. Most of the things I blind buy a lot. A lot of things I never knew about, things I'm finding out and getting into, like Genesis, for example, that I've heard of and never really listened to. Anthony Phillips. And I don't think I know enough about, before vinyls you think you know so much, and you realize, like, I don't have enough of, I just don't know enough to want to know and say, like, this is I want this record, I heard so much about it. So for me, the holy grails of what I like now, which that Limp Bizkit record inspired, is I want to get the ones that I've loved growing up, that were big to me then, and I want to get them into my collection. I want to not have to pull out CDs now of the old albums. I went through a lot of listening to hard rock stuff, new metal, indie, emo, that type of stuff, and like I said earlier in the beginning of this video, like some people seem like they get into these albums and then they grow up and they fall out of it, and I never understood that. I don't fall out of these records. So, I will show something. If there's one holy grail, there's one record that I have. Limp Bizkit's More Fun. This is like the serious album I have that really changed everything for me in the game on music, and I've already showed it and talked about it, and I got it. It actually led it to a Radiohead rant. The one I have is Radiohead Kid A. Now, I don't think Holy Grail doesn't have to count as an album that you don't have, right? Holy Grail is just a record that's just so freaking holy that it's an amazing album that you should have in your collection no matter what. It was also the first 10-inch. I have only one other little thing, those two classical ones I showed recently, but in terms of American pressings and more recent, it's the only 10-inch limited edition vinyl I have of an album. I think a nice amount of people will probably have this now. This album, it was like 11th grade for me, which was back probably in like 02, 03-ish. I got into Radiohead, and it was amazing for me, and it changed my life just in the way I view music, and I feel like a lot of people might have this with Radiohead, but it could just be me, maybe I was late in the game. But as opposed to those other genres I just mentioned, Kid A sort of stepped me into that realm of, I knocked on the door, and I was allowed in to step into this realm of, I was introduced to it, just a whole other realm of more serious music, Not to discredit the other things I've mentioned before with the other genres, like the emo and the indie and stuff. They're great in their way. But, Radiohead's Radiohead, right? So I'd say Kid A, that double 10-inch vinyl, is the only one. There's one more that I will continue to show. The other one I'd say that I would consider the holy grail for me, of course, is Kanye West's Twisted, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Out of all Kanye West albums, the three I feel like I really want to have on vinyl would be Graduation, 808s, and this. I think some people sometimes hate on 808s. I think it's ridiculously silly. I really liked College Dropout when I was, in high school, listening to it when it first came out. And I'll be honest with you, man, Jay, when he showed Late Registration, sort of got me wanting to get back and listen to it again. I'm still planning on it. But Late Registration never really clicked with me. It just seemed like there was a lot of extra filler on there. There were some great songs. Maybe if I go back, I'd appreciate it more than I did then. Maybe it just wasn't for me then. But I really love Graduation is when Kanye, after the first two albums, there was a lot of long tracks and skits, and I don't care about skits, So Graduation is when he started really chopping it down to 10, 11 tracks, And so this, 808s, and Graduation are the ones I'd like to have, but dude just comes out with these albums, and when he does, you always wonder how it's going to end up going in the better direction, and this is just, I think it's his best work. honestly. I really do. It's really quite a hip hop masterpiece, you know. Like that album is an album that is going to be looked back the way people show these other albums now from the older hip hop generations. That's going to be one of them. So Kid A and Radiohead, Kanye West, Fantasy. Those are two I'd say I have that I own. Now there's some that I want. Now I will show you this. There's a band that I love more than anything. I'm hoping a lot of people might know this band. They're incredible. RX Bandits. Now this is their last album they put out. This is Mandala. Okay? I was really excited about this because I got it for only $8. Okay? Any RX Bandits album, Progress and On, is something that's worth needing and having in the collection. Before that, a little bit too much on the ska side for me. And just not, Progress is when they start getting really serious. I want to show this just to talk about RX, but great work too. How about that, right? Lyrics on the other side. If you guys don't know about RX, man, let's talk about them. This band has been with me through a lot. It's a big deal for me. A lot of friends of mine. I've seen them a bunch of times. They officially decided to stop touring. People misunderstood it as them putting out a message announcing they were breaking up, but they weren't. They just decided they're going to stop playing, but they are continuing making albums. But I want to show this because the album by RX Bandits that I need to have in my collection, it's a holy grail for me, is And the Battle Begun. That's the album for me. RX Bandits and the Battle Begun. For any RX is great. Yeah, so let me mention the ones that I have. I have some CDs here that I would adore to have in my vinyl collection. This one is one that costs hundreds and hundreds of dollars now to get today. Melancholy, Infinite Sadness. Now they repressed Gish, so I'm just hoping and waiting. Not that I don't think they ever announced it, but I'm just hoping that they're going to eventually do a re-release, a repressing of this album. But man, like, who doesn't remember experiencing Now's album? Like, who doesn't remember this book? You know what I mean? Like, this is just, I can remember everything about this album. You know, the CDs with the blue face, and you know, the happy with the pink face. What are they again? Dusk Till Dawn, Dawn Till Dusk, and Twilight to Starlight. I mean, I like Smashing Pumpkins a lot. I actually have a tattoo that's involved with, that has a reference with them. One of my tattoos. But this is my album of theirs. That is me. You know what I mean? I really like Machina a lot too. But yeah, this is one I want to have. So hopefully there's going to be a re-release of this. If anyone knows anything about it, if they're planning on it, let me know. I saw Gish is out. Oh wait, it's not even Gish. I'm sorry. It's Siamese Dream. But is Gish out on it too? It's not Gish, is it? I know it's Siamese Dream. Maybe Gish and... I think they both came out. They both came out, I think. That's one. Now, I also didn't really continue following this band after their second album. Which sounds silly, like how can it mean so much to you now? I know the third one well, but after that I never kept up with them. But, like I said, it doesn't change things. Coheed and Cambria, this is also on Equal Vision, the label of Destrider. You know, Second Stage, Turbine Blade. This record was a big deal to me growing up in high school during that time. Big deal. Freaking loved it. Man, I wish I had my old hoodie with the awesome pictures of the Coheed and Cambria characters on the back that I had. But, man, I see they have their newer album sometimes on vinyl, but I want to get a copy of this one on vinyl. Every song on this is just... This album, start to finish, is just freaking special and incredible. But I would love to have In Keeping Secrets of Silent Earth 3 as well. After that, I don't really follow too much enough, you know? Another band that I'm a really big fan of is Deftones. Now, they have the first time ever on vinyl, I think it's the first time ever, they did these pressings of Around the Fur, Adrenaline, I think, White Pony. I think it's Adrenaline also. I think all three of them I've seen. But you know, they're 20 bucks, and unless I, you know, trade in for cash, I don't really go often to buying brand new albums, or as opposed to used ones, unless I do it for credit. But I would love to have White Pony. I haven't re-listened to White Pony in years, and I've been actually like not letting myself re-download it and get the CD and listen to it again, because I want to listen to it on vinyl and experience it for the first time in years. But Around the Fur Adrenaline, obviously great. Me personally, the Deftones album that I love to have a really special place in my heart for from start to finish is the self-titled album, which also is just my favorite of their artwork, really, with the blue and red roses. Like that's a great one right there. I would love to have that. You know what? You know this makes me think of? You know what's another great one I would like to have? As you guys are learning, you're probably seeing that this genre area of bands I used to listen to a lot of. You know what else this reminds me of? This reminds me of the CD from Incubus's Morning View, with the really, really amazing artwork with the two fishes on it. Morning View, which I don't have a CD in front of me right now, is another one that was a big, big one for me in high school. So I would love to have that. Now this is a band. You know what? I can ask anyone about this, but I'm very interested to know, Henry, if you know these guys. This is a band that was brought to me when I was like in middle school. My first job ever was like a bag boy, bagging up groceries and stocking some shelves and stuff at a supermarket called Seatown in my town of Long Beach. And this guy I worked with used to turn me on to a lot of cool stuff I never knew. He got me into this band, and ever since I've always loved them. These guys are from Brooklyn, New York, and they're like pioneers of the hardcore and the Brooklyn hardcore scene. But oh my god, I can't explain it. If you guys know them, you just know. This is a band called Candiria. I have a lot of their CDs. I keep them because you're never gonna find them all over the place. This is one that was always my favorite. It's called Process of Self-Development. Amazing artwork. Man, even more amazing stuff inside. Now, here's what's amazing about these guys. First of all, they're everything. They're hardcore. They got jazz sections. They got their hip hop tracks. Literally, you won't hear a band as crazy and diverse as this band. Honestly, Kenneth Schalk is the drummer of the band, and he's behind a lot of the major work of the music for these guys. Now, what's amazing is that it takes time for some people sometimes, because what this band does, so let's say track 1, right, it's called 3 Times Again. In the lyrics of the song 3 Times Again, it's broken into 8 chapters. So what these guys do is they actually, they're constantly switching up into different music parts. Their songs, you have different sections. Complete different music. They break down, they go into another part. And it sounds like it's just like, you know, something anyone can do, and it sounds like that's been done before, but you gotta check these guys out. Candiria is something else, my guys. Check this out. So I would love it. I don't know if this is pressed on vinyl, but I would love it. Unfortunately, the Strider album is not. One last one. Another one, sort of like Smashing Pumpkins, a double album that cost a lot of money to get their pressing of, which I don't know if it's ever going to be released. 9 Inch Nails, The Fragile. That is another holy grail of mine. So, that's enough said, right? Really. So those are my holy grail listings. Some of the ones on CDs I would love to own. You know, when you talk about Deftones, Candiria, Coheed, you know, there's just these older bands I'd love to have. Like, I really want to own these like different albums from the. First of all, I'll tell you one thing I want to love. I want Marilyn Manson vinyls. I don't see them in stores anywhere I go. Not that I go to many stores, but I mean, I want to check online. I would love it. I would love to have Mechanical Animals. I would love to have Antichrist Superstar. I would love to have Portrait of American Family. Man, that thing probably goes for so much money I can just imagine. Love my Marilyn Manson. I think his new album coming out. I'm super freaking pumped about it. Stuff like that. Seven Dust, their first album. I would love to have Slipknot's first album. I'm pretty sure it's actually a double LP too. Iowa's great too. So I like that type of stuff from when I was younger, and I want it back. Who remembers the old Cold Chamber? Dude, Cold Chamber was sick. Cold Chamber, chamber music is now my love. And you guys who know your Sabbath probably know Cold Chamber. They were on Ozfest and what? Man. And Peter Gabriel. You Genesis people already know this. Cold Chamber, with Ozzy guesting on it, did an amazing version of Shock the Monkey. Really good freaking version of Shock the Monkey. That song rips it apart. Yeah. So this is some of the stuff I'd like to have. The stuff I had when I was younger. I'm gonna skip the desert vinyl because, like I said, I don't like having to choose them. I don't want them. I want them all. Man, you guys been seeing my stomach all this time? These are like button snaps. Maybe I look like Shanae all this video. Yes, let's talk about my man. Okay, I've really been waiting to talk about this. So I have a person that when you mentioned, and you want me to talk about a person that's who's influential in your music, maybe growing up in your life, I'm telling you, it's my boy. I have a friend named Max, and I met Max in my second year of college, which is officially my first year at SUNY Binghamton, where I finished school after that first year at the private school. So, first year at Binghamton, second official year of college. And it was in the prime of when I was getting to that band Disco Biscuits. That was, that's a big part of my life in terms of music stuff. Band I followed around a lot. And we met. At the time he was listening to, he was just getting more into the Biscuits. Biscuits were the one that sort of the band I focused on. He was sort of still into Mo then. Never got into Mo, not my thing. And we hit it off. So we started chilling more and more. We started going to concerts together when we could catch when we can. This song is great, by the way. Let's start this over. I hope you're okay with this. Sorry. It's called Missing Without You. Sorry, I hope you didn't mind me starting it. This guy Max. Now Max is like my friend that is just a freaking genius too. Makes sense, he knows his music. We took some great classes together. I saw Zach showed his book thread recently. I gotta catch up on that. But me and Max took a class on Faulkner together in school. Actually, I'm sorry, we didn't. We took it separate semesters. Took it with another one of my closest friends named Jess, but Max took it as well, so we had that connection there. And then what me and Max did take together is, if you guys ever read that book by the German author, I think he's German, a book called by Thomas Mann, called The Magic Mountain. That book is dense, man. And we took that class together as well. I have a few friends, particularly, that don't live in Charlotte where I am now, obviously. I'm the guy that calls, you know what I mean? Like, basically, it's like, I'm the one keeping me. I mean, they like, he calls me too, but what I'm saying is that there's a couple friends that I call a couple times a week just to say, hey, how's things? And we usually have the same conversations. I used to think it was silly when I would call my buddy Max up and then we go straight to talk about music and stuff, but then I realized, like, now that we have things going on in our lives more, like me with all these transitions I'm going through, and Max is student teaching and freaking teaching the class all by himself and doing student conferences and parent-teacher conferences, and now we have more to talk about and catch up, and then of course we always leave the talking about music, Just like, oh yeah, I've been listening to this, I've been listening to that. Anything that Max shows me is golden. Here's the thing. It might not always be even up my alley, but obviously there's always value to it, and basically the bottom line is whatever he tells me about and tells me to check into, I know it's always worth checking. I mean, this guy knows his stuff. As I mentioned, he's a pretty good genius. It's funny. I know I mentioned her again. It's sort of weird, but my old ex, who knew him because she went to the school I went to, she always mentioned, like, and it's true, like, him and this other guy named Josh who I met through him, they're both super freaking smart, like high super IQ smart, and I'm just like a normal average day guy, average Joe when it comes to that stuff, you know what I mean? So it's funny because I always felt like, man, like, how do you meet all these? She would always be like, man, how do you like get all these smart friends, Which is probably joking with me, you're not trying to be too mean, but it shows, you know what I mean? The guy has a super super tight ear for music, and I mean, I'm trying to express my heart here for him. I love him to death, you know what I mean? Like, I just know he's the guy that'll have up at the, up at the wedding, up at the front with all dressed up and looking nice. It's great, it's really great when you have those couple of friends that you can, be apart from for so long and always catch up like it was just yesterday. I'm very humbled when I talk about my buddy Max. There's a couple other friends I'm like that too with. Maybe they'll get their own special video one day. So Max is my guy. I really want to talk more about Max, but I feel like I don't know how much you guys want to hear keep talking about Max. But basically, when you tour and do 3-night runs and festivals together and drive full days and multiple days together, I'll tell you one story. Me and Max during Fall 07. Fall 07 was a very famous year for me and Max growing up, getting into music. When we saw the Biscuits in Fall 07, they played a run of shows that we hit up that were just all freaking amazing. Like one after the next. They were on fire. 09 was their biggest year for us. But 07, we just remember, like, we never catch bad shows. We just always did well. I've seen almost 50 shows from the Biscuits, and we always freaking get lucky, a lot of times. So one time, we were driving, I think, from Baltimore, Maryland. We saw a show at the Rams Head. Next day, we got up, and we were driving to, we stopped at a buddy's place, got up, and we were on our way, I think, to Wilkes-Barre, Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, at a venue there, Kirby Center. And at that time, like, we were in the car doing that recreational thing, and we were chilling out. You take those. When you guys be on your long trips and you're touring, and if anyone follows bands like that, you just get that feeling of like drained. Not drained in a bad necessarily, but you're tired. You're waking up. You're in a little bit of a fog, and you're just loving the music, and it's a great fog, We were driving on the highway, and all of a sudden we had like this crazy. We're just talking about life, and we having those bonds. It's one of those bonds that I always remember that nothing had to be said. We just had it and shared that moment together. Super man crush, hardcore man crush. This mandate, and we both remember the situation. We were driving the highway. It was getting super windy. It was nasty out, I think, for a little bit, and we just saw this. It was fall, so like the leaves were everywhere, and we were driving on the highway, and we basically got caught in the middle of this huge freaking torpedo of these amazing fall leaves, and we were just driving on through it, and I wish I could remember the image in my head, because I'm not good with that stuff. I just remember the story, remember it happening, remember being incredible, and it was something special, and I ended up talking about it in Faulkner class, about those moments that Faulkner describes in his books, and the simple beauty and the nature of things, and the simple things, and so that's Max. So, two things he showed me. I'm going to show two of the recent things he told me about. First, I can't show one. One of them is Shabazz Palaces. I was telling my boy the teacher about him. He was showing that great purchase he got in the West Coast Connection video. I think it was West Coast Connection video. Yeah, the Diggable Planets, the old hip hop record. The guy from Diggable Planets puts out this stuff on his own now called Shabazz Palaces, and it's very avant-garde-ish, very experimental hip-hop. And the album from this past year is called Black Up. And this record is just something else. It's something else. So, Max got me into them. First one to tell me about it. Sat down, played speakers nice loud in the room on the Advent speakers, and it just hit me, and it's good stuff. Now, the other one I showed recently, I show you guys again now, that I was going to sort of wait to show it, to talk about Max, but I can show it again anyway, is that Julia Holter record. Max talked to me one day and was like, hey man, listen, there's this chick, I don't know if you ever heard of her, her name is Julia Holter, and NPR is right now streaming this new album of hers that's not released yet, and I tried it, finding a leak. There's no torrent of it, so it's not out yet at all, and it's called Ecstasis. So he told me about it, and then a few days later, a copy of it leaked on the internet, so I grabbed it online, and I could tell that it was serious, but I was playing it on my computer, and I just knew that I just needed more, you know? But I liked it, and I used to think, like, oh, this sort of sounds like that type of James Blakey stuff, but it's not. Like, James Blake is really cool, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to discredit it, that solo album of his, but it's simpler. Like, this is a lot more complex. And Julia Holter is complex. You know, I tried to listen to that first record, Tragedy, recently, and I could tell it was complex. But, you know, Max got me into Julia Holter, and I saw this in the store when it came out, and I just knew that it was going to work. I knew it. I just knew that this record was going to be like something up my alley, but I wasn't ready to commit to buying it yet until I knew for a fact, and I started listening to more in my car, and Mary loves the album too, so that was the plus, so we had the vinyl to share, and so I went ahead and bought it. So Max showed me that. So check this out again. Let me just mention this again and give this a little plug. Julia Holter, Ecstasis, amazing, amazing record. People who like their female vocalists, people who like their avant-garde stuff. It has pop sensibility, but it's complex music. You know, it's not. It might not be for everyone, but if it's for you, then you're gonna freaking love it. So yeah, he showed me Shabazz Palaces and Julia Holter as of recently. You know, and you know, we're just always on the same wavelength. You know, like I got him into Jay Dilla, and when it clicked with Jay Dilla, it was like amazing, because like now when Max started like really focusing and getting into Jay Dilla through me, I knew that we had that connection and that wavelength, and I was able to have that other person to go to and go like, and just go crazy and talk about it for hours with him. You know, just the same way we do Biscuits. So that was great. You know, the first time I ever listened to the Talking Heads and ever heard their stuff was when we were driving in a car ride once, going somewhere and traveling to see a show, and it was on a mixtape. And I never knew anything about Talking Heads. Max knows his music. His father showed him a lot of that music. Kid went to Bonnaroo when he was like 10 or 13 years old. It was a very personal experience for him, and ever since then he's been going a lot, but maybe he missed a year or two, but I mean, he just knows his stuff, and right now he's really delving into classical. And it just makes sense. You know what I mean? I love every minute of it, because I know that for Mac, it's like it's the next part of his musical journey. So he's been talking to me a lot about classical. Forgot to mention those George Enescu records I got. I gotta bring it up to him though, the Romanian ones. But yeah, so I know this video is probably long, like they all are now, but I can't help it. I'm getting view counts, so I really appreciate you guys. I got some new subscribers in the last day or two, and I'm super excited about that. And I want to give a shout out to everyone who's done my response videos before. My boy Conrad, never knew about him, amazing guy. Stephanie Vaughn, amazing lady, super excited to see that. My man Wes, like super pumped, and Gil. You know, those are 4 entries I got right now. As of tomorrow, there'll be another 20 days for the contest, so don't worry. And I'll give an update on it sometime soon. So thanks for sticking around, guys. Great thread, Andy. Really appreciate it. Love your videos. Talk to you soon. One love.